Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Yvonne from Ginger Chick Rehab. I'm so glad to have you back today. And if you're new here, welcome. I do lots of DIYs, trash to treasure, furniture flips with my husband Chris, and thrifting adventures to fit into the farmhouse decor. So in today's video, it is a furniture flip, so that means my husband Chris will be in the video. So he is making over 2 thrifted dressers and a thrifted hutch. So part of, being a thrifter, we also pick up the furniture items and the small items. And then you have to know that when you're picking up thrifted furniture, it's usually always needy in one way or another. There's a reason that somebody is getting rid of it, that it is unwanted. So that's what this video is about. It is about how to fix, how to paint up, and just give new life to some thrifted furniture.
This is the first dresser I picked up at a Goodwill out of town for $15. I kid you not. It's solid wood. There's really no problems with it, and I absolutely love those round ball feet. So a friend was selling this at her garage sale, this dresser, for $40. I have to say, when I got there, I thought it was going to be much bigger, but my fault for not asking for the size. And then all the drawers were stuck, so I wasn't really sure about this one. So at my local Goodwill, I spied the young man carrying this on a 2-wheel dolly up from the back to the very front of the store. And I spied with my little eye. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is a corner hutch with open shelving. I must have that. Please, please, please. And for $30, I felt bad that he had to take it back to the back. So I absolutely just love the height of this, the size of this dresser. And like I said, I'm absolutely in awe of those little feet of this beautiful dresser. The drawers slide in and out, so it's got a little bit of water damage on the top, but we are so used to that. And like I always say in my video, I am not an antique dealer, but look at that Sears and Roebuck label on the back of this. And I guess the thing that got me with this little dresser is the hardware on it. I absolutely loved it. I would like it to have been a little bit bigger, but sometimes people don't have a lot of space, so this would be perfect. But like I said, none of the drawers really opened. And I just tell you all how much I already love this China hutch. That molding, the open shelving, and the glass. I just love everything about this. And then I knew that we could sand that not so well painted paint job off and get it to be the ginger chick color we like. So for this dresser, the bottom drawer did have a little bit of difficulties, but not anything that isn't normal with older dressers, that one of these is loose or broken, and what those do is they guide the drawers in and out and keep them from going wonky. So luckily this is just an easy fix with some Titebond glue and a clamp, and just let the glue do what the glue does and dry, and then it will be nice and hard, and then that drawer can slide in and out the way it's supposed to be. So I'm sure that Chris kind of rolled his eyes at me when I first got this dresser and none of the drawers opened, but luckily it was as simple as the guides were, they had come off. So that's every reason why the drawers would not open and close. Luckily the metal pieces are still there, but they are loose. So other than tightening and re-gluing and, nailing these down to get the drawers to act like drawers are supposed to, and as you see, he's replacing some of the wood pieces. So not that it was, it wasn't an easy fix by any means, but it did give this little dresser new life. And then for this little hutch, there was a little bit of wonkiness, a little bit of a bite out of where some wood was missing on one of the shelves. But Chris had a plan on what he wanted to do to beef those up a little bit. So, I do give this man all the credit for, the things that I sometimes bring home. So the first thing he's doing is tackling the much needy dresser drawer guides of this using some Titebond glue and then just getting these all glued back into place and nailed down will just make these drawers work the way that they're supposed to, as he's adding that piece of wood, because there was some missing pieces, so when you're out looking at garage sales or thrifted, really take the drawer out, look in it and see, why it isn't opening. And a lot of times it's little things like this that seem difficult, but once you learn how to do them, it becomes easy. So now that he has these two pieces screwed together, he's going to attach it into the inside of the dresser. So now that the drawer can go in and out the way that it properly needs to, but he will be gluing it down using some more of that Titebond glue. It's a wonderful permanent fix because as we see, sometimes nails come loose and sometimes screws comes loose, but that Titebond is a great glue for woodworking. So I feel like I'm giving you Drawer Fix 101 today. So also on the drawer of this, as you see, it is missing another one of the pieces that also help guide it into the hole where the drawer goes. So he will be replacing that also. So like I said, there are so many reasons why a drawer does not go in and out, but it usually has a lot to do with these little pieces that mean a lot. So I don't know what happens to pieces out of, like, if it falls off and the owner just says, oh, let me just throw this away. I don't know where that came from. I am always curious what happens to pieces and parts when we thrift furniture. I guess it doesn't really matter. But as you see, he's using a little bit of Titebond, and then he's using a little bit of that CA glue. The Titebond takes longer to dry, but the CA glue, once he puts the accelerator of the dryer on it, it is a quick, dry, because it's really hard to nail through this area because it would just go right into the drawer. That is why he's using both glues at the same time. Now that he solved the drawer problem on this dresser, he's going to be removing this hardware, which is the hardware is what caught my eye. I don't see this hardware a lot, and all the hardware was there, and I absolutely think that it's beautiful. So on this Hutch's doors that had the glass in it, to make it easy for him to paint, he is going to be gingerly removing that seal that keeps that glass in there so that he does not have to tape off. So if you remember, I said one of those shelves of that China Hutch had a little, or that corner Hutch had a little bite out of the front of it where it was missing some wood. Not really a bite, but something happened to it. And so what he's doing is he wanted to beef up the front of those a little bit anyway, since it has such beautiful molding on this piece. He's just taking some molding that we have in our stockpile, as thrifters, you kind of hoard onto things because sooner or later you will get to use it. So that's exactly what he's doing here. He's taking some of this molding that he had in his stockpile, and he's just beefing up these drawers or these shelves just a little bit. And I know you see, it didn't go the entire length. That is because it will be butted up against the sides in the inside of the cabinet. The one thing when I thrifted this, I definitely knew that it was going to need a lot of sanding. There was a lot of drips on this cabinet that was painted, and not only did they have a lot of drips, whoever painted this, they painted it when these shelves were inside, so it meant that it even dripped even more in the inside of the cabinet. So, thrifted items, labor of love, lots of sanding. So now what he's doing here is attaching those pieces of molding, and why he's doing it, why the shelves are in, to make sure that his cuts were exact, because you definitely don't want to glue them in it on the front of that first and then not be able to put these in the cabinet. So, just good idea. And after getting this glued up, he's just going to hit it with some brad nails just to make it nice and secure, and especially to hold that in while the glue is drying. So for the one that had the bite out of it, he's just going to go to that wonderful product, that Durham water putty, and fill that in. I thought he was just hiding it with molding, but I wasn't the one doing this, and he knows what he is doing. So the way that the shelves fit, two fit in the bottom, or one fit in the bottom where the drawers were, and then the others fit on the top. So that's why he does the furniture, because he knows what he's doing. So he's just going to be filling this in with that a little bit of that Durham water putty. And if this is the first time that you see this, this is a powder substance, and then you just add a little bit of water to it, and you just get the consistency that you can work with, and you just put it on the hole or fill it up where you need, like a wood filler. But it is so cost efficient, and it's so easy to work with. Yes, it dries rock hard, but it is definitely sandable. And as you see, it just sands so nice and smooth, and just now it is ready to be painted, along with the pieces that he added the molding to. That just beefed them up a little bit more and ties them in with the beautiful molding that was already on this hutch. Whew. So now he can finally get to cleaning these pieces. He's got them all repaired, all fixed, all working order, and now he's just using the KRUD cutter to clean these pieces off. This is a great prep for getting any residue, any oils, anything that's left behind. Even though you sand them, that still does not clean them off. You need to get them nice and cleaned, and this is just a great product for that. You just spray it either on the item or on the towel, wipe it off, no rinsing required. Now on these drawers, as you can see, he has pieces of masking tape on the side, which means he has them labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, drawers do really, are made for each slot. And a lot of the times when we thrift items, it's as simple as the drawers don't move in and out because they're not in the right slots. And since none of this hardware is painted, he's going to go ahead and clean the hardware off with a KRUD cutter also. So to freshen this hardware up and give it a new life, he is just giving it a couple coats of the Rust-Oleum paint and primer in flat black. So to seal that paint in, he's just using a coat of the Polycrylic in the flat matte, and that just makes that a nice, tough, durable finish, especially on this kind of hardware that hardware is made to be touched all the time, so it just is a nice protective coat. So now it's on to painting the dressers. So he's using the ready-to-use flat black onyx that I get right off the shelf at Walmart. This is a wonderful black paint. It's $13 a gallon. It has great coverage, and a gallon goes very far. So remember where he fixed these drawer glides, they're nice and dry. That Titebond has done its job, and now he can remove the clamps and finish painting the first black layer of this dresser. When it comes to painting the black on this cabinet, he is just going to do the areas where he is going to be distressing this piece. There's no sense of wasting paint, especially in the inside, when you know that you're not going to really sand and distress on the inside. But when it comes to the molding and the sharp edges of this piece, those are the areas where you're going to be distressing. So you want a little bit of that black and a little bit of the natural wood to show through. So it only makes sense, this is something we have learned since we started doing this, that it seems like kind of a waste to paint the entire piece all black when the only parts you're distressing are these kind of pieces. So if you're doing this at home, just make sure that you're not globbing it on, that it's, thin coats, so then you don't really see where, you have multiple layers, that it's nice and smooth. Now we're on to our Kills Paint and Primer in 1, and this is just a nice white paint. We absolutely love this color, and this gallon of paint is also under $20 a gallon right off the shelf from Walmart. No mixing required. That's why we absolutely love it. And so when it comes to this paint, painting white always takes 3 to 4 coats to cover, and especially since we choose to do thin coats so that we're not overworking trying to sand to smooth, especially since we are distressing. So now, the nice thing about doing a round robin game of painting is that when you get one piece painted, that first one you started with, You get to the last piece, you can start all over again, the whole little process. So now that everything's got its coats of white, the hardware have got its coats of paint and polycrylic, and now the paint is all dry, it's on time now to start the sanding process. So here Chris is taking the orbital sander, and now he's using a 400 grit sandpaper, and what that's going to do is just going to make that, you know, that flat painted area where we're not distressing it nice and smooth to the touch. And then he will take a 220 sandpaper around the outer edges of these drawers, so that way he gets the distressing that we are looking for. That way a little bit of the black will show through. And you know, yes, sometimes that's the part of distressing, a little bit of that natural. You get those three colors that play off each other. Like here, this is one of the parts that I love on our painted white pieces, you know, that you don't see this little detail piece on when it is wood, but as soon as you go to sand it and distress it like this, it just makes that detail just pop. So inside this cabinet, he's using a 220 grit on the rotary sander, and what that's going to do is just going to make it smooth. Remember, the higher the number, the softer, you know, the sandpaper is. So, you know, in the inside of this, we're just sanding it to make it smooth to the touch, not sanding to distress. For this decorative molding, he's using a little bit stronger grit of 100 grit sandpaper, and to really get into that molding, to show off all that detail of that molding. You know, you just have to, you know, you'd like to say there's a rhyme and reason for every sandpaper that you use, but you kind of have to judge the piece, especially since this was already pre-painted. You know, if you want a little bit of that natural to show through, you might have to go down, you know, with the number of the sandpaper. Now to finish all three of these pieces off, we're using the Varathane finishing wax. This is basically a wipe on, a wipe off. It just protects and seals that paint, especially since it's white. And I know this paint has primer in it, so it's not a step that you have to do. It's just a step that we choose to do. It just leaves a nice feel to these items. And so all three of these items, the two dressers and this hutch, will all be getting their protective coats of this wax. And I do want to know, on the top of any kind of pieces of furniture, especially these dressers, we do wait for the wax to completely dry and then apply another coat. I mean, you definitely you will know when it's dry by the touch. So now it's on to replacing all the hardware, putting it back where it was. You know, when you are painting these items, that's one of the areas that you want to be very careful of, that you're not filling your holes where you're going to be replacing with too much paint, or you might have to re-drill them out. As in like this hutch, Chris did not overfill these holes, but as you see when we bought it, the shelves were not in this piece because the holes were probably painted. So what he needed to do, like I said, was go back in and re-drill them out to make it so the little pegs that are supposed to fit in there properly fit. So like I said, he didn't fill those holes. Unfortunately, I had thrifted it this way from whoever had previously painted it. And it is so nice when you are replacing those drawers after you freshly painted them, that they just go in so well. And one of the other additives, because these are pieces that are usually, you know, old and vintage-ish, you know, they are dry, so nothing hurts but putting a coat of Varathane finishing wax on those glides to help these, just another little extra for those drawers to slide in and out easily. You know, these dressers are wood, they've been around, so it's just nice to give them a drink. It was very nice that he was able to remove that rubber seal that kept this glass in this cabinet door. Now it's time to replace it, with a little bit of prayer that you don't break it. But it just gives a nice cleaner paint job if you can remove any hardware, especially if you can remove the glass, which is not always possible, but it just gives a nice crisp paint job. Now on to replacing those hinges and then replacing these doors back onto the cabinet itself. I just absolutely love how this $15 dresser turned out. I love that the white paint and the distressing shows off all the details of this piece, and I still absolutely love those little ball feet at the bottom. And now these drawers will slide in and out. They will glide easily. You know, when you buy our piece of furniture, that is one thing we always make sure that everything works properly. And I just absolutely love this piece. And this dresser got me at the hardware. I absolutely love this hardware, and I am happy that we gave it new life. You know, I absolutely love that distressing, that perfectly imperfect. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be used over time. So why, you know, that's the fun thing about distressing. And I'm so glad that these drawers, those two, open and close the way that drawers should. I knew I was in love with this piece of furniture as soon as I saw it in a two-wheel dolly in the Goodwill store. And I absolutely love it even more now that it has that ginger chick paint job on it. I just absolutely love it. And I am very surprised and pleased to announce that my husband actually said that he thought we had a space that it would fit, and that happy 26th wedding anniversary to me and to us, that he gave me another little space to decorate, since we don't have a space for one of our bigger china hutches, because I do love the furniture that I already have. I was so happy to be able to fit this piece in my home and be able to add a little bit more of the ironstone and the white pictures that I absolutely love. And who doesn't like to decorate a little bit of area just a little bit more? I am so happy with this piece, and you just one of those areas that you're like, oh, I gotta go down and look at it just in case it's changed since I saw it last. So very happy to say that we actually kept a piece of the furniture that we usually always sell everything. So I was happy to be able to keep one of our pieces of furniture.
So what did you think of our furniture flip? Would you pick up a thrifted furniture? Do you pick up thrifted furniture? Would you have given up on that dresser when you could not get those drawers open? And as you see behind me, you know which one was my favorite, that corner hutch. I am so happy to have a hutch of some sort in my house, just the way our house is set up and the furniture that I already love. I've never been able to keep one of the hutches that we redo, and I absolutely love hutches. So I'm so happy to have a little nook and cranny in my house that I get to decorate. So anyway, just give me a quick comment and of what one was your favorite, and then don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing if you like this kind of content. And if you're already part of my YouTube family, thank you for helping our channel grow by just watching our videos. Thank you so much.